Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel that nobody watches. And today I'm here with Daniel.
Welcome to my living room, which nobody sees.
It's amazing. It seriously is amazing. I would love to live
It
here.
has a back patio, and that's about it. But thank you for saying so.
It's pretty cool. Anyways, today we're going to talk about the new Tom Ford. Tom Ford
Myrrhe Mystere, or Myrrhe Mystery, or Myrrhe Mystere, as people like to say.
I'm glad to have somebody else pronounce this for me. I have Daniel here today because I just can't get an exact grasp on this fragrance. It's really good and whatnot, but I don't know why. It's giving me some confusion. Before we talk about the scents, let's talk about the presentation just a little bit. All the Tom Ford bottles come in the same design, but this comes in a very unique and different color that I'm sure it's never been done before. The same colors have never been done
I hadn't seen this color before, and I love it.
I love it.
This direction, I kind of wish all of the Tom Fords that are in that dark brown to blackish glass were redone in this, because I know like the dark brown protects them from like UV rays and everything. I don't know if the Myrrhe Mystere bottle would do that because it's more translucent, but just this like cognac color of the plate and the gold writing, it's just so perfect. I think they hit it out of the park.
Especially in person. And I really, I always connect visual with the scent, but I think the color actually represents what it smells like and all that.
Quite well.
Okay, so like we said, it's, Tom Ford is fashion and design. He just doesn't only do perfume. So obviously, the bottle looks beautiful. And let's give it a quick spray.
Yeah.
And before Daniel gives his professional opinion, let me give you my idiot opinion. When I first tried this, I honestly thought it was nearly identical to Ebe Fume. And of course I'm not pronouncing that right. And I really almost thought like, oh, it was such a success. They literally made the same thing and named it something else just to get sales and whatnot. But after 3-4 tries, it's really not. It's not even. I wouldn't say not even close. It is close, but it's not the same. It's a different fragrance. And if I had a, I would say it's the love child of Bois Moroccan and Ebe Fume. And I'm gonna get so much hate for it, but I said it. There I said it.
Hit me up, all those Moroccan boys.
Oh.
No, it's bois.
Bois.
Bois Moroccan. Bois is wood in French.
I know that. I just mispronounced it to try to be funny.
I actually couldn't pronounce Ebe Fume for the longest time until I had to like look it up. And be like,
I used to say fume for a while.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some videos.
There are count them, three accents in that title. So they lost me after the second one. I was like, oh, I don't know. But now I know.
There's vanilla in here.
Yeah. It uses Tom Ford's Ultra Vanille Accord. So I believe that is like one of their branded vanilla essences. I believe the same vanilla is also found in Vanilla Fatale and Tobacco Vanille as well. So I'm happy to see this powerful and potent vanilla coming back. It's a little boozy to me, just ever so slightly, and that's probably the influence of the myrrhe for sure. I think myrrhe is just a fantastic note.
What is myrrhe?
Myrrhe is a resin.
How is it different than resin though? Why do we call it myrrhe?
Yeah.
I've seen resin notes, right? And I see myrrhe separate, right?
Yeah, myrrhe is a style of resin, so there's lots of different kinds of resin out there between like rock rose and labdanum and myrrhe and frankincense, olibanum. All of these are part of the resin family, which is also as an extension part of the amber family. So they all have different flavors slightly. I believe myrrhe is on the sweeter and spicier side of things. Like they all have their sort of nuances. I know labdanum, for example, can be very smoky in its raw form, but it's hard because amber in and of itself is going to be a multifaceted ingredient that has woodiness, spiciness, sweetness, smokiness, balsamic nuances. So you kind of have to judge each resin by itself. Some are even very piney, which I like. So Yeah.
That's why I bring on the channels people who actually know what they're talking about. So what's your personal
take on this one? Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I have loves about Myrrhe Mystere. I have my gripes with Myrrhe Mystere, just like everything. You know, I'm not.
What are a few of them?
So we'll start with the positive. I think it was about time that a brand like Tom Ford focused a fragrance on myrrhe. It is the oldest known perfume ingredient in recorded history. So it is an ancient ingredient. It's biblical, but it goes
food and ambergris.
even older than that, because myrrhe has been cultivated for like thousands of years. I did a little bit of like digging, and I read something about how there was a Egyptian pharaoh in the 5th dynasty of Egypt. I won't try and pronounce his name. I'm sure he won't mind. But he was embalmed in myrrhe. It was part of their like death ceremony. Of course, the Egyptians are very focused on death and the afterlife. So they wanted to dress the corpses with as much richness so that they could enjoy it in the afterlife as well. And it was the first, it was interesting. I read about this. He had a fleet visit the Horn of Africa, which is on the north, south, east side. I think modern day Somalia, if I'm not wrong. And he had all of this myrrhe cultivated and brought back to Egypt, as well as all these like rare exotic animals like giraffes and cheetahs were brought back to Italy, to Egypt. But myrrhe was brought back in huge amounts, and in his tomb, when he died, there was a fresco, like a chiseled sort of painting called a fresco, that features him gardening in a garden and tending to a myrrhe tree, like one of the plants that would produce this resin. And it's the only existing Egyptian depiction of a king in a garden, a king gardening, because that just wasn't part of the king's duties. But he, I guess, had such an appreciation for this ingredient that he wanted to be known for being connected to it. So I think it's a really like rich history for an ingredient.
That's a crazy history thing. Like it's different having like a normal friend who's a frag friend and somebody who works actually in the business. That's wow. I'm just blown away right now.
It's just cool because like here we are sitting in like this modern context with this technology talking about myrrhe, and like literally for thousands of years this conversation has been had. And like you came over here, you drove 13 minutes to get to my house.
Yeah.
This motherfucker had a like fleet go like across Africa and like harvest and bring back fucking cheetahs and shit. And like I don't know, so I mean like it's in the Bible, like in Jewish Bibles, in the Catholic Bible. Of course it was one of the ingredients that was brought to the baby Jesus in the biblical story, is including frankincense and gold. So it's got this like just storied history, and I think it's about time that Tom Ford like really focused on it. Here, let me pass it back. So that's one of the things I like. Its rich history. There's something kind of newfangled about like modern day like niche perfume. Sometimes it feels very devoid of history, so I like that this was a little bit of like a blast from the past. And that's the other thing I want to talk about. This feels kind of like books in a way. It's got that kind of library vibe to it. Some people are calling it like dark academia as like an aesthetic, which I think is pretty cool. So it's just very dry. It has a little bit of like a papery vibe to me. Like if I was in sort of like ancient Egypt, in some kind of like tomb, it might smell something like this. I think that's so cool because like we're stuck in our modern day, but with a scent like this I can travel somewhere else. Maybe it's like some library in England or some tomb in ancient Egypt. But
is that right?
Is that yeah?
That's very interesting. If I had to force you to point out a con.
Longevity, for one. For on my skin I get like 3-ish hours, which I think is underperforming for Tom Ford. At the price.
I was just gonna say I have one big con that I have to mention.
The price. the
and
price.
it's already like Tom Ford is already at a very competitive. It's high up there, right? And it even makes the other Tom Fords low. So yeah, it's the price.
$515 for those of you who didn't know.
50 mil.
For a 50 mil. So that's like easily over $10 a milliliter if you're doing the math. I like in my brain. The price point, it's just I can't get it out of my head, and it does
Is high. It
taint
is
my experience of the perfume. Like I almost want to enjoy it more than I can because I'm like seeing those numbers in my brain, and you know, you see those numbers over at Creed, and you're like, that's ridiculous. But then you get like,
and it's 100 mil.
and it's 100 mil, so you get half the product for.
And
similar
you always
price.
like, oh, that's so high. Look at Aventus, and you don't realize this is 50 mil. And
I really struggle there. Like, I'm sorry, Estee Lauder. I'm sorry. I work for you. I love you all. But if I'm paying $500 for a fragrance, I'm expecting like S tier niche level fragrance. We're talking like Roja. We're talking Fragrance du Bois. We're talking Amouage. Like Frederic Malle even. Like, I just don't see Tom Ford at that level, despite them being consistent and solid. It really feels like a smart move for Tom Ford because it really contains a lot of the house codes. When I think about Tom Ford, I think leather.
Okay.
I think rose.
Oud.
I think wood.
Okay.
Not necessarily oud, but I do think wood.
Wood. Okay.
And I think vanilla.
Okay.
So this kind of contains the vanilla that is found in things like Vanilla Fatale and
kind of like fucking fabulous. That
Right.
DNA. It's not the same, but
it's part of the leather family,
yeah,
and
leather.
that's sweet. It's got the tonka bean in there. You know, this sits alongside Bois Moroccan and Ebe Fumé and even
Bois Moroccan
and Santal Blush. So it's got like the sandalwood is a prominent note in here too as a base. So it's got like the precious wood element. It's got the vanilla element. And then it's got sort of the like amber that is iconic in the entire Soleil line. So Soleil Blanc, Soleil de Feu, those were all based on amber as well. So I think it's like pulling from these different house codes and bringing them all together. And I think that's smart for him to do. I think Myrrhe Mystere, like, despite its price points, has the potential for being a future classic Tom Ford scent. Because it's quite likable and it's quite wearable.
And I think they knew that. Like, they didn't. Almost every like private blend has the same design and color, and they knew there was something special about this, and they had a different color and a different price point, and you know they knew it was different than the other ones, so they knew it was a special. Okay, all right. So Daniel, thank you very much for being here and having your professional opinion. I'm sure it's a light years ahead of what I would have said about it. But no, it's always love to have you on your channel, and always nice meeting you. And we'll finish this up, and we'll do your next video.
Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a good sense of humor. No, I don't do that.